go. Let's get this in the shade. We'll be good to go. Now if I put it in the sun, it's going to be way too hot. What's going on? We're cooking brunch. Appreciate stopping in. Appreciate the likes. I'm getting things going. I got the Grill on, we're heating up first. We're going to be cooking some bacon off in there. I do have a non-meat eater that's going to eat brunch with us, so I have a separate pan that we're going to do all the veggies, but we're going to end up doing like a brunch style fajita breakfast taco. So I have like hatch green chilies that I roasted the other day, and then we're going to do some red onion and some red pepper, aggressively sauteed. And then I also have some breakfast potatoes that I'm going to make with some parsley and yellow onion, a little bit of garlic. Finish that off with cheese and parsley. I already said that. And then cook off the eggs, and I have tortillas. And that should be good, but we're just getting started. This is the new property. Actually, if you look that way, we go 30 minutes in that direction, and that's the Grand Canyon. So Grand Canyon's off in that direction, and what you see off in the distance past the shower tent is Mount Humphreys. So that's the tallest point in Arizona at like 11,000 feet. So we're in the northern desert, but we're gonna eat some good breakfast. Okay, so meat. All right, we got a little bit of overcast, so I might bring the camera in a little bit shorter. But as with most of my cooking sessions, I pride myself in getting the timing right. A lot of chefs will scream mise en place, which means to get everything ready and have everything ready. But what you're going to watch right now, things are heating up. I can see the gauge, and it's probably about 450, 500 degrees. I can hear the pan sizzling. We're going to start with bacon, but you're going to see all of the prep right now as well. And simultaneously just getting things done. So that's a pretty good shot right there. Start with bacon. do a couple rounds of bacon. My green chilies are already roasted. Roasted those like 2 days ago. So we're gonna do a little pepper medley. So we can get, what do we have in shot here? Pretty much all of it in shot. So we'll put the landing right here. Things I need to grab out of shot. My kind of landing spot. Everything's ready. Bacon, I want to go an aggressive cook, but I don't want to scorch it. Bacon's going good. And then after the bacon, we'll do potatoes in that one. So I'll do 2 rounds of potatoes. And with that, I'll do onions. I don't want to cut the potatoes yet because they'll start to brown. But I can do the yellow onion. This is my scrap bowl. I've been composting out here. But we'll go top, bottom, in half. Take my skins off. Onions are ready. I like a lot of onion. 1, 2, 3. The onion, especially when these caramelize with the potatoes, it brings out so much sugar. So we'll go 2 onion, which I should have just brought it out in the first place. Made all the steps in synchronicity instead of repeat steps out of order. You gotta check on this bacon. There we go. This isn't completely level, so you just see me flip the pan 90 degrees, so now the grease will rest on the other side. We're not scorching one side of the pan. And me closing it gives it that top heat too, so not only frying it but kind of baking it at the same time. It's very aggressive. It's 500 degrees in there. It says it is anyway, but that pan's probably not 500 degrees. All right, onions are done. Again, after I do 2 rounds of bacon, clean out that, wipe out that pan. I'm gonna do the potatoes in there. Potatoes with onions. That'll be herb fried potato. And then we'll pull that out, and then I'll heat up this other pan, and then we'll do red pepper, red onion, saute those up nice, take those out, and then we'll do a scramble with some eggs, and then heat up some tortillas, have a little taco brunch. It's actually Arizona, Van Diaz. What's going on, Astro? How you doing, my friend? Seen that all that work you're doing on your lately. That's awesome. Check it often, check it often. Do a little flip on these. Woo! Don't touch that pan, it's hot. Okay, so that bacon's gonna be done by the time I get some of this other stuff in. I don't need a lot of bacon. And then we'll move on to the other stuff. Ooh. Fry, you little freshman pig. That was a quote from a movie. Somebody name it. No wasted cookies, please. Boom. Last round of bacon in, and then once that goes in the landing, I have the onion cut up already. I can start to do the potatoes. Potatoes are pretty fun. Make all the nice little cubes. This bacon's gonna go much faster than the first round. All that extra fat in there. Flip 180, you hear that oil kind of reignite because it's hitting that hot side of the pan, but we're mitigating the heat, you know, making sure the pan doesn't get too hot. It's kind of like wood fire cooking, just really having control of the heat gives you the best results. And it's usually on a much higher temperature than most people cook at. Alright, so we have potatoes, the onions are ready. I do have garlic, but garlic doesn't go in towards the end. I do have a bunch of pepper that's already ground up, and then that will be with salt. These potatoes are close, and I'm composting, so none of this goes to waste. This will all go to compost, but this is much faster than trying to peel all these. And a little bit of skin is good. A lot of the nutrients are going to be right with that dirt that most people wash off anyway. Just create myself a bunch of rectangles, give myself a square base, which is pretty much with everything, and then it's much easier to make everything uniform. Uniform can be bougie look wise, but when you make everything uniform, everything the same size, then it cooks, the cook is uniform. You don't get soggy pieces versus crispy pieces or whatever. Alright, look at that bacon, come on. Bacon's perfect, look at that bacon. See, woo! Nice and crispy. Once this will be crispy. We'll pull out some early. I'll get rid of this grease in this pan. Turn these low so I don't waste fuel. Okay. Let that get hot. To be respectful, I'm going to deglaze it with water. I know it's kind of a sin to get rid of all that flavor, but let that get nice and hot again. We'll deglaze. I'll let the pan get hot again. You always want hot pan, cold oil. So let the pores of the pan all open up, and then cold oil so it can get in there and saturate those pores before it starts to sear and smoke. haven't started cutting these yet because I can already see a little oxidation. Normally you throw them in water, but I'm going to try to, again, this is prepping while cooking and trying to time everything appropriately. The rest of my cuts and the rest of my prep, I think the hardest thing I have to prep is garlic, and I still have, I can be pretty quick at that. There's actually liquid gold in here, and I will save it. But deglazing it with water is going to bring all those oils up. Okay. Get this hot one more time. And then we're going to add the new oil. And then let that get hot. Then we'll add the potatoes. But we want it to be hot. I don't want it to steam, I want it to fry. So here I usually just judge if I'm going to do 4 or 3. Try to make it uniform, decide right off the bat, and that way it kind of gives me, you know, we'll start off with all the fries. If the cuts are nice, then it should still stand. And it just makes it easier. Take the time with the cuts, make them all. And this is more of like a Zen kind of process. Having like, how fast did I do it last time? How clean did I do it last time as far as the cuts? How consistent they were? And then only doing it to, only comparing it to myself last time and then saying like, oh wow, this was clean or anything. And it's only a judgmental base for myself, nobody else. But it is a way to constantly improve this and get personal pleasure out of it. The pan's getting nice and hot. I have most of my cuts done already. Okay, add the oil. Another reason I want the like hot pan, cold oil, and then I want the oil super hot is because I don't want the potatoes to absorb it. You know, if it kind of sits in there and starts steaming, then it will want to absorb it. There is water content in the potatoes, right? And to get that reaction where it's like frying the outside, you know, you want that oil super hot. Just like when I deglazed it right now, you know, if that pan's not hot, you don't get that reaction that you're looking for. And then that's similar to the process of when you're frying food. Aromas are pretty big too. Like when you're making a roux, you're looking for a nutty aroma on the flour. Right now, I'm getting a very strong like aroma from this oil heating up appropriately. And I can kind of use that, and it's smoking, right? You know, sommeliers are taught in aroma. You know, it's very interesting. So many years in the kitchen, once I smell oils heating up, I can usually tell you exactly what kind of oil it is. I want that sizzle, and it's not quite as loud, so I want to be quick. And then, oh, that's right, because I did turn these down to conserve, but I did not turn them back up. So we'll get these in quickly, and then we'll start to blast it to make up for the mistake. You'll hear me say it many, many times over again. The best chefs in the world aren't the ones that make zero mistakes. It's the ones that can correct it the fastest, and usually correct it without even pointing it out or you noticing. Nice, watching from Astro. Eat some leftovers before heading back on the road. No, I don't answer the questions. I'm very bad at. I'm not going to be your typical streamer. You know, I don't have time to sit here and respond. It interrupts my productivity. I'm just gonna let those char for a second. Just south of the Grand Canyon, and why? Because I don't like the city. I grew up in the city. Nice. That's getting crispy in there. I hear it. Crowd's going wild. Add the onions. I'm not going to even stir it in. Just going to let the onions steam on top and let the one side of those potatoes get nice and crispy. Flip it 180. Let that oil go to the other side. And you can actually hear it hitting the hot side of the pan. All good signs. You want the party popping. If it's quiet, then it's not cooking. Oh, we actually got some likes there. Hell yeah. Three, that's a new record. Woo! You ever get burned there? Woo! Look at that. Look at that crispiness. Hell yes. Look, nothing's stuck either. I see some brown, the first sign, that's why we just let the first side cook, cook, cook. I'm gonna add my first batch of salt, which will bring out more of the waters and sugars of the onions, and then we'll get those to caramelize a little bit better. Plus it's potato. If anything's ever too salty, add potato starch of some sort, or potatoes to it if you can. And when you're cooking potatoes, do 3 times the amount of salt you think you need. And you'll be